I put again my camera on top because I'll be jogging in front of you all. I'm actually exercising at the same time. So, okay. Sige. So you can see this one well. Can you see this one? Can you see this already, Ian?
Yes, Doc.
Can you see that one? Okay, okay. So good morning. We'll start our lessons. Okay, so at one point in your life, my medical students, Med 1, and we have guests pala ha. We have guests here. Good morning to my 3 radiology residents, first year radiology residents, to Dr. Bendic Salvatierra, to Dr. Jim Will Chua, and to Dr. MJ. Welcome to you all to Med 1 class. So they are first year they're already professional doctors. They're already licensed. They're having my residency. So they are under me as their training officer. And you'll be meeting them. So when you go 3 years afterwards, they're already senior. They will be senior residents already. So you'll still meet them at EVRMC, God willing, when the pandemic is over. Okay, so I know that at one point in your life, Ian and company, you have heard about peptic ulcer, di ba? You have heard so much about peptic ulcer disease in your patient, okay? Or in any relative. And so usually, or I don't know, maybe you could also have a peptic ulcer. Okay, so at one point in our lives, we had this one. You said that if you are under stress, for example, if there's an examination, di ba? Or you have a problem, you have emotional problem, your stomach tends to get painful. So you complain that because you have the others say you have gastritis daw, and others say you have peptic ulcer disease daw. Or and then for a cigarette smoker, he's also prone, di ba? Or if he is an alcoholic beverage drinker, he's prone to have peptic ulcer. Or if you are hungry, di ba, you tend to have a stomach pain, much more for those who have history of gastritis or peptic ulcer. And you don't forget that there is the most common etiology, or the most popular actually, is the H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori infection. So in board examinations, aside from those other aggravating factors which will lead to peptic ulcer disease, they would love to ask that microorganism. What is that microorganism which is implicated in the development of peptic ulcer? H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori. So, and don't get surprised that when there is a treatment for peptic ulcer, sometimes you will be seeing that doctors will be giving an antibiotic. It's because they have identified the H. pylori, and so they also have to give antibiotic aside from the peptic ulcer medications that they are giving, because of the implication of H. pylori. So the symptoms are upper abdominal pain, could have been having nausea, bloating, vomiting. They are non-specific, weight loss, heartburn. There's a pain ba in the epigastric area. Okay, so if you look at this one, look, this is the stomach. So you have here an ulcer. Okay. A peptic ulcer can happen not just in the stomach, it can also happen in the duodenum here. This is the duodenum. So you have gastric ulcer, you have duodenal ulcer. In the board exam, they'll have to ask this one, what blood type daw? What blood type daw is prone to the development of gastric ulcer? What blood type? Blood type A is the answer, gastric ulcer, blood type A. What blood type daw is commonly implicated? What blood type daw is most commonly prone to the development of duodenal ulcer? The answer should be Type O, duodenum. Duodenal, For duodenal ulcer, usually, commonly there's seen among type O individuals. And for gastric ulcer, usually type A. They love to ask this in the board exam, So type A. Okay. So next, it could happen here in the stomach portion. Could also happen here in the duodenum. Okay, Okay. So like, for example, this one has a duodenal ulcer, this patient. The same time has a gastric ulcer. So it can happen both. You can have both in the stomach and then the duodenum. So be observant now, Ian and company. I would like you to note about this. What are these? These are the rugae, diba? These are the rugae, and these are the raised portions of the gastric mucosa, the rugae, and there is also a depressed portion, this one. Just take note of that. So these are the gastric rugae. They are raised areas. Then this one, the in between, the raised areas are the depressed areas. Take note of that. Okay. So down. Okay. So this is the. Look, what are these? These are the gastric mucosal cells. So they actually correspond to these areas here. This one. The superficial areas, the raised areas, there are gastric cells there designed for the secretion of mucus, because remember, mucus is a protective for the surface because you have here hydrochloric acid in the lumen. Diba? The gastric, the stomach is acidic, so it has to be protected by mucus. So the cells here, the gastric neck cells in particularly here in the superficial portion, in the raised portions, would have the gastric neck cells which secrete mucus. So remember, they go further down because there's depressed area there. So there must be cells there in the deeper portion. So I'm just telling you, they are the parietal cells, gastric parietal cells. There are the gastric chief cells. There are enterochromaffin cells as well. So this is just introductory. So there are really cells there. Okay. And God made it so that those that are superficial here should be the mucous neck cells, simply because they have a cytoprotective effect, because they have to balance the effect of the hydrochloric acid. So as we go further, as I'm telling you, that's why it's easier for you to learn as we go deeper, because I'm just telling you now. In the deeper portion there, you'll have the parietal cells. Parietal cells, gastric parietal cells. So you've already known the neck cells, the neck cells which secrete neck and mucus. Then you have here the parietal, gastric parietal cell. So parietal I, parietal cells which secrete, look at this, parietal L which secrete I, the intrinsic factor. Diba? The intrinsic factor secreted by the parietal cells, because this helps in the absorption of the vitamin B12 in the ileum. In the ileum of the small intestine, another I. This is needed because if left alone, vitamin B12 cannot be absorbed properly in the ileum. So if it won't be absorbed properly in the ileum, the vitamin B12, the red blood cells, the young red blood cells in our body, which are normally big, would not become mature because there is no vitamin B12. Okay. Normally, as they mature, the red blood cells become smaller. So if you have no vitamin B12, simply because you have a defect in the production of intrinsic factor because of a defective gastric mucosa, meaning no parietal cell, you will have the so-called megaloblastic or pernicious anemia, meaning megalo, meaning big red blood cells. You become anemic simply because the red blood cell did not mature. Diba? So, because as they mature, the red blood cells become smaller. So, if they did not mature, you have megaloblast. You have a big red blood cells, and they are non-functional. So, you'll have anemia. Because they are blasts, they are mature. So, you develop, therefore, megaloblastic or pernicious anemia. Another secretion of the parietal cell will be the L. So, this is the hydrochloric acid, HCl. Ha? The parietal cells secrete hydrochloric acid. Okay, ha? Okay, parietal. Okay, take note of that. Parietal, L. What is the role of the hydrochloric acid? Okay. The hydrochloric acid converts the pepsinogen into pepsine. Because pepsinogen is inactive. It has to be got to pepsine, ha? Okay, so this is that is why hydrochloric acid is made by God. Hydrochloric acid. What secrets there for the pepsinogen? Okay. I told you before, chef cook, because the chef cook loves to cook delicious food, di ba? So when you eat delicious food, it's good to drink it with Pepsi. So you associate the chef cook with Pepsi. So it's actually the chief cells actually. So the chief cells produce pepsinogen. Huh? So chef cook, Pepsi Cola. So pepsinogen. Okay. Remember that pepsinogen o gen, I'll just say pepsinogen is still inactive. It cannot still function. So it has to be converted to pepsine. So pepsinogen has to be converted to pepsine by the hydrochloric acid. So that's the role of your hydrochloric acid. Now, you're right. What is pepsine, Doc? Pepsine is an enzyme which is important for partial protein digestion in the stomach. Remember that the digestive process, if you have read the book in Silis, it is actually a cascading type of digestion. It is not immediate, diba? They have to be transformed into simpler substances until to the most simplest of the substances that would complete the digestion process. So therefore, pepsine is important for partial protein digestion to make it into polypeptides. Later on, they will be transformed into more simpler substances, the amino acids, as you remember, with biochemistry, as you go down to the small intestines. Okay, so take note of that. Another cell that is there on the deeper portion would of course be the enterochromaffin cells. So I love to call it enterochromaffin. I love to capitalize on the enterochromaffin. Enterochromaffin or the endocrine cells. We can just call it endocrine. So I love to call it endocrine. I love to say it endo. I love to put it at H there, endocrine, so that I will remember the H. Because the enterochromaffin or the endocrine cells, they produce the H, the histamine. Don't forget, the histamine. The histamine is very important because you know what? The parietal cells kasi, the parietal cells, diba, which secrete hydrochloric acid, an intrinsic factor, the parietal cells kasi has H2 receptors, not H1, H2 receptors. The H1 is associated with allergy. The H2 receptors. If the secretion to the secretion of this enterochromaffin, di ba, the histamine, it will now stimulate the H2 receptors here in the parietal cells, di ba? This the parietal cells. You have H2 receptors. So if this will now be stimulated by the histamine, therefore the parietal cells would produce hydrochloric acid. So that's the importance. Okay. Now, there are hormones. Always remember this, that there are hormones produced by the body, made by God, in order that you can increase also further the production of hydrochloric acid by the parietal cells. What are they? Okay, one is of course, histamine. Histamine, di ba? Histamine, a hormone. Then, what else? You have here the so-called gastrin. Gastrin ba? Gastrin. Gastrin. Well, take note. I love to put A in the gastrin. Gastrin. I love to capitalize the A. Gastrin. Because the gastrin is a substance produced by the antrum, the pyloric antrum of the stomach. So remember, the stomach is composed of the body, if you remember, is composed of the cardia, here, diba, the fundus, the body, and actually, the pylorus. Sorry, wala. Yan. Nakita nyo na uli, Ian, ang company? Ian, nakita nyo na uli? Bumalik na ba? Hello?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, nakita na. Oh, so ito na, doctors, ha? Ito na. So the stomach first. So this the cardia, the fundus, the body, and then the pylorus. This is the pylorus here. Here. Because this is the pyloric sphincter kasi. So this must be the pylorus here. This is the pylorus here. Remember that the antrum is a part actually of the pylorus. So I love to call this pylorus. Pylorus. Pero of course, it is pylorus. The pylorus is like that. Diba, pylorus. But I love to spell it this way so that I will remember that the antrum is a part of the pylorus. So the antrum produces gastrin. And gastrin, so the pylorus produces gastrin. What produces the gastrin? The antrum of the pylorus. So it produces the gastrin, which helps also in the further production of hydrochloric acid by the parietal cells. Another is the so-called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, di ba? Acetylcholine. So it is a substance produced that will help in the further, also in the production of hydrochloric acid. What stimulation produces the acetylcholine? What vehicle stimulation? Vagus. Via vagus stimulation, vagus nerve stimulation, it produces acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. So that this helps in the production of further hydrochloric acid. So if I ask you, Dr. Ian, representing the Med1 this time, give me, Dr. Ian, give me 3 substances which will augment the production of hydrochloric acid by the parietal cells. So, what will be your answer, Dr. Ian? Hello? Hello, Doc Ian. What will be your answer?
Hello, Doc.
Okay, your answer will be histamine.
Histamine, Doc.
Okay.
Gastrin and acetylcholine.
Oh yes, very good. And then to add it up, among these 3, it is the histamine which has the greatest stimulatory effect. Among these 3, it is histamine which has the greatest stimulatory effect. Okay, That's why no wonder you have actually seen and heard that medicines like, di ba, Zantac or ranitidine? Zantac is ranitidine. Zantac or generic is ranitidine, and Tagamet, di ba, Tagamet, or the generic is cimetidine. Zantac or imitin are H2 receptor antagonists. They are very helpful for the control of the production of hydrochloric acid for the treatment of peptic ulcer, simply because they're H2 receptor antagonists, di ba? You should antagonize the H2 receptors here. You should antagonize the H2 receptors so that it will, the production of hydrochloric acid would decrease. So there is more to that, huh? So later as we go along, this is a preliminary so that we will have better direction as we go through. Okay, so hello, can you still hear me? Hello?
Yes, Doc.
Ian? Okay. Is the sound of the mass not bothering you? Because actually we have an auntie who died, and then old age already, and then they have it's now her burial, and there's a holy mass. They're attending the Zoom. Is it not bothering you all, the sound? No, it does
Hindi
not.
naman, Doc.
Okay, very good, very good. Sige. So, first and foremost, what is an ulcer? Okay, first, okay, and then what is the role of H. pylori? Naman, oh. And then those, like, say, cigarettes, the cigarette, actually, the nicotine, they try to destroy the mucosa here. Okay, so it actually stages like this. So the pylorus, like this. So actually, if the so-called gastritis, di ba, the stomach has walls, di ba? So you have here the mucosal wall, then you have here the submucosa, then you have here the muscularis propria, di ba? And you have here the serosa, di ba? The walls. If it is just actually superficial, only here at the mucosa, you call it gastritis. Oh, gastritis. But if it already erodes further the mucosa, it will involve now the subcutaneous tissue. Then it will go to the muscular proper, the muscularis propria. That is already peptic ulcer. That is already peptic ulcer na. If it already involves na the deeper layer. Later on, it can go through all through the wall, and then it will perforate. Meaning, if it perforates, it's already destroyed the wall. So it's dangerous, because you know what, the gastric secretion could get out of the body. It will react with the peritoneum, di ba? And then you'll have peritoneal irritation or peritoneal infection. Hello, hello. So, and then the air would from the stomach would get out, and then the secretions of the stomach will get out further, and so you will have really a big problem. And then the erosions of the blood vessels, my God, you will have hemorrhage. You will die of peptic ulcer disease. So that's why it's dangerous. So we should have a treatment for that, therefore. Okay, so therefore, it is an imbalance between gastrointestinal and mucosal protective factors and aggressive forces. So increased gastric acidity for those who are, diba, for those patients who are stressful stressful living, and then for those who would delay their eating, so you will have an increased gastric acidity and peptic activity. Okay, so these are implicated factors. And then, so for those who are cigarette smokers, alcoholic beverage drinker, this one we'll discuss later on, this H. pylori, steroids, like for example, Alaxan, diba, aspirin, they are irritant of they are irritant, hindi sila hindi nakakasira sila ng stomach natin. So psychological stresses, so yan, pag diyan nag-exam na, ayan na naman, mga ulcer, sumpong-sumpong na naman. Pag-exam ng biochem, ayan na naman. Pag-exam ng anatomy, ayan na naman. Pag-release ng grade ni Doktora Paloma, ayan na, nag-ulcer na. 'Di ba? So ganun 'yon. Okay, So we go. There are also associated diseases, like for example, okay, chronic pancreatitis, chronic lung cirrhosis, okay. Okay lang yan. Basta importante maintindihan niyo muna ito, ha, doctors, mga ganito. Courses. What are the mucosal defenses? How do we protect ourselves against peptic ulcer normally? Normally, of course, we have the mucus neck cells, they produce mucus, cytoprotective effect. Bicarbonate secretion also. That's why nga, gusto kong basahin niyo yung pancreas kasi yung ano, di ba ito, this is the duodenum, di ba? Bababa kasi, duodenum naman ito, di ba? Bababa kasi ang gastric, ang ating kinain ng acidic. Okay, bababa kasi yan dito. Siyempre, natural, bababa yan. And remember that the partial protein digestion and then the partially digested food here will go there. And then remember, we'll go to the small intestine. And remember that they will purify further as they go down. They have to have the process of further completion of digestion. Mind you, the completion of digestion would not proceed if the environment here is still acidic here. That is why the pancreas actually, which is supposed to be here, diba? If you remember, if you have read your book, the pancreas which is supposed to be here, one of the functions of the pancreas would be to provide bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate. Ito man, sodium bicarbonate, meaning an alkaline solution. Because the environment here should be alkaline in order that the digestive functions of the pancreas would be realized. Because remember, the pancreas would be secreting substances which will help us further in the digestive process. So one good thing is that the pancreas would provide also sodium bicarbonate, which is an alkaline medium, in order that the enzyme secreted by the pancreas would become active. Because if it is still acidic, it would not proceed its activity. Ha? So tandaan nyo yan. Yan ang importance. That's why, pagdating na dito, medyo nababalance. So nakakatulong ang bicarbonate para mabalance, para hindi palaging acidic. Kasi kung acidic ito, wala kang bicarbonate, kay halimbawa, nasirang yung pancreas, wala kang bicarbonate, kaya bibigay rin naman siya ng bicarbonate. Aside from the enzymes, of course, na sinisecrete niya. Palagi na lang itong acidic. Ano mangyayari? Patay ka, magkakaroon ka ng ulcer, duodenal ulcer. Ha? Okay. Kaya pala, ganito yon, ha? In relation to that, sinasabi ng mga doctors sa mga textbook na pag meron ka raw gastric ulcer, hello Ian, baka hindi na ako narinig, ha? Hello Ian, ng company, narinig niyo pa ako? Hello Ian?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, very good, ha? So, kaya pala, pag meron kang gastric ulcer, o ganito ha, pag may gastric ulcer ka, pag kumain ka ng ulcer, pag kumain ka, nakakatulong daw, nawawala. Bakit yun ganito? Okay. Pag kumain ka kasi, di ba pag kumain ka, pag kumakain ka at that very moment, halimbawa gastric ulcer ang sayo, wala kang, halimbawa granting lang na wala kang duodenal ulcer kasi minsan kasi mixed sila, may gastric ulcer ka na may peptic, mayroon ka ng duodenal. So minsan medyo mahirap masabi kung saang level ka. Pero kung for example, pure ka lang na gastric ulcer, wala ka pang duodenal, halimbawa gastric ulcer ka, pag kumakain ka kasi, di ba pag kumakain ka, di ba lalong maraming hydrochloric acid? Di ba maraming lalong hydrochloric acid pag kumain ka? Di ba? Kumakain ka at very moment, talong dumaraming hydrochloric acid. Nag-secrete kasi ang parietal cell mo kasi ang hydrochloric acid would be convert the pepsin into pepsinogen into pepsin, di ba? Kaya kailangan ng pepsin kasi ang pepsin ay mahalaga for the digestion, the partial protein digestion, di ba? Okay. So, lalong sasakit. Kasi just imagine, marami kang acid, hydrochloric, dahil lalong nasusugatan, may sugat ka na, mas palagi ka pang, marami pang hydrochloric acid, kay kumakain ka, mas lalong masusugatan ito. Mas grabe, masakit yan talaga, di ba? Mas lalong ka masusugatan. Whereas, pag meron ka raw, granting, pure lang na duodenal ulcer, halimbawa, sabihin natin, okay, ito tayo, halimbawa, doctors, meron kang duodenal ulcer. Ito natin na lang X ang duodenal dito, ha? Halimbawa, meron kang dito na lang. Halimbawa, meron kang duodenal ulcer dito. duodenal ulcer. Pag kumain ka raw, ay makakatulong na hindi masyadong maging masakit ang duodenal ulcer. Bakit? Okay, 'di ba kumain ka. Di siyang natural, magpupunta yan dito. Siyempre, mapupunta dito sa duodenum, natural. Kaya palabas pa ng pagkain, kaya nagkakaroon man ng prep ng digestive process, di ba? Pagpunta dito, remember, para makumpleto ang digestion process, kaya mayroon man mga enzymes sa sinisikret ang pancreas para ka makadigest. Kailangan siya mag-secrete ng bicarbonate ang pancreas. Kailangan niya, di ba, para magkaroon ng optimum function ang iyong mga enzymes na sinikret ng pancreas din mismo para mag-proceed further ang digestive process. So, therefore, nababalance ng sodium bicarbonate ang ulcer dyan. Kaya parang nakakatulong ang pagkain. Kasi nababalance, kasi nag-secrete kasi siya ng sodium bicarbonate eh. Ha? Diba? So, at that point, Ian, nakukuha nyo ang ibig kong sabihin? Kung bakit
Doc.
Okay, very good. Nakakatulong talaga no Ian ang mga drawing. nakakatulong ba yung method na ganito? Ha?
Yes,
Yan.
Doc.
Nakatulong nakaklaro, nakakaintindi. Okay, so sige, very good. Thank you. Sige, maganda yan. Okay naman talaga. Okay, gusto ko rin nakakaintindi rin ako. Ha? Kasi I might be teaching you, hindi rin ako nakakaintindi. Parang nagbubula-bulahan lang tayo. Ha? Okay, sige. Okay, ganito. Okay. So, dyan. Kaya, hindi man matapos natin ngayon dahil talagang dinadahan-dahan ko ito, dahan-dahanin natin kasi gusto ko talaga makakaintindi kayo. I don't want to be proceeding further kasi second year kayo, third year kayo, hindi nyo nang alam kung anong function ng pancreas kasi haphazard lang yung discussion. Or, hindi naman haphazard, one flow lang, memoryahin nyo, bahala kayo. I have also been with that type of instructions before. Nagaganon kami dahil kukulang ng oras o minsan naman isang kuan lang tapos basahin niyo na bahala kayo. Salamat pero it could be pwede naman kasi magawa ng magandang paraan, di ba? Para mas maintindihan. Okay ha? So, kaya doctors pag nag-assignment ako, mahalaga ang sinasabi ko na assignment kaya para maintindihan niyo. So, remember the pancreas like this. So, dito ka na Iyan, malapit ka na ha. O, ganito 'yon. Di ba liver ito? So don't ever forget that the liver is the one that produces the bile, ha? The liver is the one. The gallbladder only stores the bile, but it does not produce. Bile is produced by the liver. At saka yung bile, anong function ng bile? Ang bile ay mahalaga kasi yan ang tutulong yan para sa sinasabi nating absorption ng ating fats, ng lipids, di ba? Bile. Di ba it contains the bile contains bile salts, di ba? Remember that the bile salts important for lipid absorption. How is lipid or the fat absorbed by the body? Okay, through the process of E and M. Emulsification and micelle formation. Which comes first, Doc Ian? Emulsification or micelle formation? Or it is micelle formation first, emulsification?
Emulsification first, Doc.
Yes. Okay, kaya nga dyan, M. Okay. Micelle is the second. Emulsification, di ba? Pag ito di ba ang fats natin malaki, di ba? Kailangan muna itong madurog ha. Kailangan muna siyang madurog via the process of emulsification. Okay ha? Kaya madurog para mas maraming surface area siya. Para siya bang maraming surface area para ito ay ma-absorb. So dapat durugin. Now, so pag nadurog na sila, remember na ang fat ay mayroong hydrophobic at mayroong hydrophilic. hydrophilic. May hydrophilic na component, yung hydrophilic dito, di ba? Tapos merong hydrophobic dito. Okay. So, aside from that, ang bile salts kasi, meron din yan siyang layer na na ganito. Some sort of, meron din siyang hydrophilic at saka hydrophobic component. Now, ang bile salts, so therefore, parang magbi-blend, ganito lang, sinasummarize ko lang. Meron pa tayong discussion dyan, parang sinasummarize ko lang. It tends to blend the hydrophilic, let's say for example, if this is if it is doctor the intestine na para ma-absorb na ba itong fats na ito ba, itong fats na ito na nadurog na. Remember that para siya ma-absorb ng ating dito na baliktad yung drawing ko. Ito na lang. Ito yung intestine, di ba? Ito yung lumen ng intestine. Nandiyan na yung itong mga maliliit na itong maliliit ba na itong mga maliliit na dinurog na. Ang micelle formation naman ay ganito na. Ang bile salts ay di ba mayroon din ang bile salts ay ang hydrophilic portion ng bile salts, ang hydrophilic portion ng bile salts ay magbi-blend dito sa hydrophilic component niya. Sa hydrophilic component, yung hydrophobic, ang hydrophobic ay magbi-blend dito sa kanyang, dito sa hydrophobic component. Pero yung hydrophilic component niya ay magbi-blend dito sa area hydrophilic rin nitong fats. So therefore ang side ng bile salt, na hydrophilic, di ba? Hydrophilic ay magbi-blend dito sa hydrophilic component ng fats. Yan. So diyan na sila. So therefore ito ay halimbawa ito this one ba ay ito 'yon. So ang component ay para ito ay ma-absorb ng capillaries at saka ng, di ba, yung capillaries at saka lymphatics ba, di ba? Para itong ay ma-absorb diyan, kailangan kasi na ang mga enzymes kasi, let's say mga lipase ba, ang mga enzymes kasi, let's say mga lipase na ang mga enzymes ba na mga kailangan matumulong pa para ito ay mapunta doon sa ating katawan, para mapasok siya doon sa mucosa, ay naka-embed sa isang aqueous or watery substance ba sa gilid ng ating intestine. Ang mga enzymes ba ay nandyan sa watery component. So therefore, therefore this side of the fats, ito ba na nadurog, has to have a very hydrophilic component ba. So the side ng fats plus the plastic, ito sila ay magbi-blend para nga sila ay ma-absorb na. Kaya yan ang role ng bile salts din. So therefore the bile salt is involved in the emulsification and then the micelle formation. Introductory lang binigay ko na yon kasi meron pa tayo niyang further discussions sometime later. Okay So therefore the bile is very important for this one. So don't forget, di ba? What do you call this body? Is this porta hepatis or portal triad? This one. Ito. Ano yan?
Porta hepatis.
Porta hepatis. Yes, ang portal triad ay mga branches dito sa loob na dito, So the porta hepatis is composed of the common hepatic duct. Ito man, common hepatic duct kasi right and left pa nito na hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct, tapos meron pa diyang isa, portal vein, supposed to be portal vein, at saka ano pa, yung
hepatic artery.
Porta hepatis yan, Okay, so very good. Okay, so remember that the common hepatic duct plus the cystic duct will become the, the common hepatic duct, yes, the common hepatic cystic duct will become the common bile duct. So, common bile duct, yan. Magpupunta dito, magjo-join sa para magsa, tapos, it will be joined by the common pancreatic duct and it will become the ampulla. Ha? Okay, the ampulla. Ito na yun. Ha? So, therefore, yung secretions mo from the pancreas, enzymatic, at saka yung aqueous will be here, will go here. Okay? And in order that the further for the proceed for the digestion that will be, of course, needed for the absorption of fats, dahil sa bile mo nga, ay pupunta rin dito. So, that's why you have, don't forget, therefore you have the sphincter, this have the ampulla of the ampulla. Okay, Okay, down. Okay, this is the liver on ultrasound. Ito. Normal liver. So you have actually the branches of the blood vessels of the liver. Then look at this. Doc, bakit ba irregular na ito, Doc? Kasi ang cirrhotic, di ba, irregular na liver, contracted. Ang liver na cirrhotic is contracted. So kaya para siyang nadurog na liver. This is the diaphragm. So this is the liver. Okay, Okay. So this is the gallbladder here. In this view of the ultrasound, you can see the gallbladder. So these are the liver. This is the liver. So this is the right hemidiaphragm. So this is the liver parenchyma. So this is a branch of the portal vein, a branch of the hepatic vein. Okay. So actually, I would just like you not to be ignorant. Just it. Mag-isakay lang kayo. So that is the liver on ultrasound. So we have here a gallbladder, which is a stone. That's the stone, shadowing of the shadow of the stone. Then you have here the thickened wall, because if you have a stone, it will try to react with your wall. The wall tends to react. It becomes inflamed because of this stone. That's why you have a thickened wall of your here. You don't have a thickened wall here, the gallbladder, because there's no stone. But here, Doc, it's inflamed. Doc? Yes, it's edematous. That's why it's thickened. Okay, because of the stone. So therefore, I would like to use this. So if you make a cross section of your liver, they're small. These are like this. These are the liver lobules. Okay. So so if you try to look at the liver lobule, this is the central vein. They will go to the hepatic vein. Then will go to the inferior vena cava. So don't forget about this. There are, what do you call this one, Ian? What do you call this one? At the periphery. Ian, portal hepatis or
triad. Triad, Doc.
Yes. Okay, portal triad. Did you start already in anatomy for this? Not yet. Did you start already?
May danada, Doc.
Oo, sige ha. So the portal triad. So it is composed of the branches actually of the hepatic duct. Di ba? They come from your common hepatic duct. Di ba they come from your common hepatic, di ba? Because in your kanina, di ba? Ito ba, ang portal triad nga ni, di ba, may common hepatic duct. So they become smaller inside. Yun, no? So you have here, therefore, a branch of the hepatic duct, then a branch of the hepatic portal vein, then a branch of the hepatic artery. So remember the hepatic duct, they carry the bile, of course. So these are the liver cells. These are your liver cells. This one, hepatocytes, hepatocytes. Okay, this one. They produce bile. Okay, so they will go to the green area here. This one, the green, which we call as the bile canaliculi. Okay, bile canaliculi. So they would go here to the green one, to the hepatic duct, until they become bigger and bigger. They will become the right hepatic and left hepatic duct, and then they become common hepatic duct. Okay, common hepatic duct will join with your cystic duct to become your common bile duct. Okay, now the other two are, of course, so you have here the portal vein, a branch of the portal vein. Remember, the portal vein, they carry nutrients from the intestine, di ba? So they will go to the body, of course. So from that, become the portal vein. Okay, so until here muna, the big portal vein, here pala. Okay, so here, the portal triad, diba? So the portal vein, the big portal vein. So they come from the intestine, diba, nutrient, so they will go inside. So how would it become? So here, now, it will become, of course, smaller in the portal triad. And how do you call this one? That's it, sinusoid. That is the sinusoid here. So hepatic sinusoid comes from the portal vein, of course, and then they will go towards the central vein. Mga central veins like that. And the central veins, therefore, will go to the hepatic vein and becomes from hepatic vein, will become the inferior vena cava. That's why the nutrients get circulated. Okay. Now, the other one is the hepatic artery, which supplies, of course, the oxygenated blood to the liver. Okay, so it comes from the aorta, of course. So like that, going there. So the artery and the vein are going there, while the bile is going on the opposite way, because it will go to the gallbladder for storage. So again, the bile is produced by the liver cells. The gallbladder does not produce the bile, it only stores the bile. Okay, Okay, so we go. So don't forget, doctors. So therefore, just imagine central vein. So you would, of course, it's not complete here, the drawing. You should expect here the portal triad is here. Okay. So one example here is the portal triad, which is composed of the branch of the hepatic artery, branch of the portal vein, and branch of the hepatic duct. So the portal triad. Okay. So this one is therefore a liver lobule. This one, Okay. So I hope you can understand that already, that one, Okay. Okay, so look at that. There's so many. Okay, liver lobules. Okay. Okay, that's it. So therefore, if this is the portal triad, this one, the portal triad, this is the porta hepatis. Porta hepatis. Okay. So, okay, porta hepatis. So doctors, therefore, this one, the liver, so you should notice this. Do you notice this one? Mga small like this. So there are the liver lobules. These are the liver lobules. When you make a section, a cross section on that, this is the appearance. So you don't know about. Okay. Okay, sige. Okay, porta hepatis. So therefore, 3 vascular structures enter or leave the liver at the porta hepatis. So the porta hepatis is composed of the portal vein, the hepatic artery, and the common hepatic duct. The inferior vena cava runs distal to this triad. The bile duct lies approximately on the longitudinal body axis. Okay, so that's it. So you can the inferior vena cava, central vein, hepatic vein, so they will be distributed na. Okay, So you're now getting clearer. So therefore, this one is important for the bile, because there's something to do with lipid absorption. And the pancreas is given by God to be there simply because, remember, you have here the stomach, doctors, the stomach is there, and then remember the chyme, the stomach chyme, the liquid portion of the stomach which contains the predigested food is acidic, so it will go there. But mind you, the digestion won't proceed to its complete digestion if you won't stop this from being acidic, simply because the pancreas, the enzymes of the pancreas produced by the pancreas should function in optimally or in its maximum if it is a alkaline environment. Okay, so therefore it should be alkaline here, and that's thanks God for the pancreas. It produces of bicarbonate. Aside from the enzymes it produces. Huh? No wonder, unahan ko na lang, the pancreas has endocrine, and exocrine component. Endocrine is created component. Pag sinabing endocrine ductless, meaning it produces through the but immediately insulin. They regulate the bloodstream. While the one that produces the ductin. So what are the example? Axinals, di ba? Axinal cells, they produce the trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, di ba? They are inactive, and because trypsinogen to become trypsin, chymotrypsinogen to become chymotrypsin, they need to be activated, of course, through a substance that is produced by the duodenum. This is an example, so that you will have a sense of direction as we go through later on. Remember that it has to be in its active form before they can produce the function here. Otherwise, if they are secreted in its active form pa lang, here pa lang, narito pa sila sa pancreas, you will have pancreatitis. You will have an automatic digestion of this one. Because remember that the functions of this trypsin, chymotrypsin, etc., is for digestion, di ba? And they have to be activated na here. Actually, the duodenum, once they are produced already here, di ba? They go to the common bile duct, the secretion. Okay, they are ducted man. Endocrine, kung endocrine, ductless. Kung exocrine, may ducts. So they will go to the ducts here. But remember, they have to be in its inactive form muna. Those that are produced, they have to be in its active form. They go here. They have to be activated here na. Otherwise, if they will be active pa lang, here already pa lang, here in this area, magkakaroon ka ng digestion mismo ng pancreas. Madelikado yun, magkakaroon ka ng pancreatitis, Panginoon ko. Mamatay ka. Ha? Okay, so dapat dito sila activate. Ano mag-activate dito? Actually, I remember, and as they enter here ba, naalala ko, Enter the Dragon ba, di ba si Bruce Lee? Okay, kilala mo si Bruce Lee yan? Yan, kilala mo si Bruce Lee?
Yes, Doc.
So, Enter the Dragon, di ba? Enter the Dragon. Alam ko, maliit pa ako si Bruce Lee. May Bruce Lee, tapos namatay si Bruce Lee, maliit pa rin ako. Kayo, napamanan nyo lang yan sa internet about because legend kasi siya. Di ba? Idol siya ni Jackie Chan, ganun. So, kaya alam niyo si Bruce Lee. Dapat nakita niyo sa mga internet, Enter the Dragon. So, naalala ko, pag nag-enter na itong Enter the Dragon, enterokinase. Doc, enterokinase? Enterokinase is the enzyme which converts let's say chymotrypsinogen produced by the pancreas to become chymotrypsin, trypsin, so that these substances will now help in the further digestion process. Okay, so okay, we continue. Parang preliminary lang yun, so that it would make sense sa inyo. Pancreas, Doc, duodenum, Doc, stomach pala ito, Doc, yes. Kaya mahalaga yan. So, ulcer na naman tayo. Ulcer na naman, balik lang. So, ulcer, gastric, again, type A blood. Kung duodenum, type O blood, they are prone to the development of gastric ulcer, type A blood, prone to the development of gastric ulcer. DO, duodenum O, type of blood prone to develop of duodenal ulcer. So, ito yun sa upper GI series. Ito itsura ng ulcer. Sabi ko, Dok, bakit ito, Dok? Ano to? Gastric rugae yan. Sabi ko nga, ito yung raised areas kanina, di ba? Ito man. Raised. So, Ian and company, to all of you, ha? Represented only by Ian. Yan, raised cells. Ano mga nandyan, Ian? Ano mga nandyan sa tingin mo sa raised areas? Mucous neck cells? True or false? Ano ang nandyan?
True, Doc.
True. Mucous neck cells. Because mataas ka sila. Doon sa mga deeper portion, dito sa mga, di ba, deeper na yon. Yung mga pababa na, nandyan na yung mga parietal cells mo. Ha? Okay. So, therefore, itong raised area na yan, ito yun, yung itim. Yung mga puti na yan, yun ang deeper. Yan, di ba sinabi ko sa inyo before, nung una, yung raised area kasi, pag halimbawa, pinainom mo ng barium yung pasyente, pinainom mo ba? So natural, di ba sabi ko sa inyo, i-coat niya lang yung mucosa. Yung dito lang i-coat ng barium. Hindi makukot yung mga, hindi dito makukot yung wall, hindi. Granting na intact ka kasi wala kasing sugat. Hindi niya makukulayan ng puti yan, hindi niya makukulayan. Now, kung bakit mayroong areas ng black at white is this. Ito 'yon. Ang raised area ganito. Parang 'di ba ganito 'yon? 'Di ba rugae, yan ganyan. To. Oh. Sandali, pagka-charge ko lang ha, kaya parang mahina na ata. Ito yung doctors. Diba ito yun, ha? Ito yun. Mataas, mababa, mataas, mababa, mataas, mababa. Dito yung mga mucous neck cells mo. Dito naman yung parietal cell mo, yung chief cells mo, yung endocrine cells mo. Oh, endocrine, histamine, ha? Chief pepsicola, parietal I, intrinsic, L-hydrochloric, ha? So, tapos huwag kalilimutan, histamine, gastrin, antrum, pyloric antrum, acetylcholine, ha? Madali actually, ha? So, basta may technique lang, actually, madali talaga. Tapos, ang technique ay balik-balikin, para kayo naglalaro kasi kung hindi mo papraktisin, makakalimutan mo rin. Ha? Okay. Di ba? So, mataas, mababa, mataas. So, kaya ito ang pinakamataas ay hindi nakukulay. Kasi pag pinainom ang pasyente ng barium, natural, ang barium, preferentially, magpupunta siya dito sa malalim. Di ba? By effect of gravity. Hindi makukulayan itong mataas. Hindi siya makukulayan ng mataas. Kasi nga, mataas siya. Ha? Mataas. Parang sa Yolanda ba, di ba? Yolanda, dito ka sa bukid, pinakasang bukid. Kay pag bumahaman, at least hanggang dito lang. Ha? Hanggang dito lang. So, hindi ka niya na maabutan doon. Okay? Sobra naman yan kung nasa pagkinamataas ka na katapos pipilit pa ang baha magpunta doon sa taas. Sinutugis ka niya. Kasi kahit mataas na siya, di ba? Mataas na siya, hanggang dyan lang kasi mataas naman ito dito. So, hindi siya makukulayan. Ha? So, therefore, no wonder, ito yun. Ang pinakamataas, ito yun. Ang mataas, ito naman ang mababa. Ito yun, doctors. Ito yung maitim. Ito yung puti. Kaya, okay. Pag ulcer, kung may sugat na, tingnan mo, may sugat. Yan ang sugat. Ito yun. Ito yung doctors, ito. Ang mga gastric rugae mo ay nakakaganon. Okay. Pag ganyan, alam mo, so, ganito yon. Dr. Bendick, andyan ka? Hello? Dr. Bendick, andyan ka pa? Dr. Bendick, ang resident na ako. Hello, Dr. Bendick? Dr. Jimwell? Dr. Bendick, Dr. Jimwell, Dr. MJ, andyan pa kayo? Hello? EBRMC doctors? Hello? Baka out of line na naman sila. Hello? EVRM
Yes po,
C?
Doc.
Hello? Ah, very good. Very good.
Yes po, Doc. Nandito pa po,
Akala ko
Doc.
very good, very good, very good.
Hello,
So,
Doc.
Dr. MJ, hello, hello.
Yes po, Doc.
Dr. MJ and company. Okay. Tandaan, no? Pag ganyan, tingnan nyo, pag may regularity ang flow, tingnan mo ang gastric rugae. Very, very regular. Very regular sila, ha? Benign yan. Hindi yan cancerous na ulcer. Ha? So, remember,
Yes, Doc. Yes, Doc.
meron kasi tayo sinasabing benign at malignant ulcer. Alam mo, ang benign ulcer, pag sinabi nating benign ulcer, ulcer yon na dahil ng peptic ulcer, for example, peptic ulcer lang. Pero sinasabing malignant ulcer ay, pwede ka kasi magkaroon ng ulcer kung meron kang gastric carcinoma. Pag meron tayong gastric cancer ba, malignancy, gastric malignancy, or may tayong duodenal malignancy, magkakaroon na natural ng sugat ang ating gastric or duodenal wall. Ha, pwede. Kaya yun may sinasabing malignant ulcer. So pag ang pattern ay ganito, one of the patterns is that there's regularity of the folds of the stomach, pag ganyan. So med-1, kailangan nyo rin malaman to, ha. Pag may ganyan, meron silang regularity, ay na magandang pagkakapunta ba doon sa central, benign yan. Pag pangit ang entrance niya, pag pangit hindi siya maka-form ng ganung pattern, malignant ulcer yan. Isa yan sa mga features ng malignant pagpangit. Ito benign ito, ha? Doc MJ and company. So tandaan niyo yan, ha? Okay. Okay, very good. So, okay, now, good. Now, ganito naman. Doc, Ian. Hello, Ian and company. Ian.
Yes, Doc.
Ito na naman tayo sa... So, maliban sa pattern na ganun, kanina, nakita nyo, pwede rin ganito ang ulcer. Meaning, Doc, bakit ganyan? Kasi supposed to be, di ba? Lesser curvature, ganyan lang. Ito ang lesser curvature kasi ng stomach, ito yung greater. Supposed to be ganyan lang. Pero, Doc, bakit po parang may gumanito pa? Parang may suso na dyan? Para bang may breast ba? Ba't bumukol dyan? Meaning to say, may ulcer yan kasi ganito yon. Ito yon, doctors. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, doctors, normally, ito, ang stomach lang ang mucosa ang nakukot ng barium kasi nga, intact na ito. Hindi naman lulusot doon ang barium. Ito kasi abnormal ito, ha? Abnormal na portion ito. Huwag yan ang usapan natin. Dito tayo. Hindi siya lulusot dyan kasi ito nga, mucosa is intact. Mucosa, submucosa, muscular, serosa. So, dyan lang siya. Ang kaputian, dyan lang. Hindi siya lulusot. Kasi wala siyang sugat. Pag this time, nagkaroon ka ng sugat, ganito. Oh. Ito na, sinugatan mo siya. Oh, tingnan nyo iyan ang company, ha? Sinugatan nyo. Ano mangyayari? Ang barium, kung pinainom mo ng barium ang pasyente, magpupunta yan dito. Pag nakakita ka therefore, ano mangyayari? Doc, iyan ang company, magiging puti ito. Ha? Magiging puti. So therefore, no wonder na karoon ng ganun. Ibig sabihin yan, a bulging thing or a white thing in barium enema in a patient clinically suspected to have peptic ulcer, meaning it has gone, the barium has gone beyond the confines of the gastric mucosa. Ito ang gastric mucosa. Ito ang gastric mucosa, doctors. This is the gastric mucosa here. Ito na layer. Meaning to say that the barium has gone beyond the confines of the gastric mucosa. Therefore, doctor, this patient this is a sign, therefore, of a peptic ulcer. Extravasation, meaning going into, meaning protrusion of the barium beyond the confines of the gastric mucosa. That bulging thing. Therefore, it is a peptic ulcer. Okay, ha? So, Ian, larado ba yan? Doc Ian, para Ian,
Doc.
Doc Ian. Oh, pag-usapan niyo yan kasi pag nandun na kayo sa ano kasi, pag alam ko, nag-zoom rin kasi kayo ng mga free ba, para nagdi-discussion, ano yan, the way by which you can immediately understand and always remember and be more confident about I am teaching and what you are reading would be to relay it to others. Ituro mo talaga sa mga tao, kasi hudang pakinggan ka nila or hindi, pero pakikinggan ka kasi natuturo ka nga. So, natuto na siya, napapractice mo pa sa sarili mo. Hindi mo talaga malilimutan. Ha? Okay, ha? So, sit tayo. Ito, no? Meron namang protrusion dito, beyond the confines. Delikado ito kasi alam mo, ito, pag nag-progress pa yan further, patay ka. Pag nag-decide pa yan ng Panginoon ko, di ba, maglalampas na yan ng serosa. Patay ka, nagpe-perforate yan. Delikado yan, perforation yan. Kasi, ito na nga, perforated. Hala, ano na yan, Doc? Bakit? Ito na, nag-perforate na nga. So, Dr. MJ, may residence in radiology, ha? Pag mga ganyan, watch out na yan, ha? O, tingnan mo dito sa... Ito kasi ay duodenum na ito. Mayroon siyang duodenum ulcer. Grabe na, oh. Tapos, dito, may mga ulcer, Kasi supposed to be, dapat smooth yan. Ayan, perforate na talaga. Nag-perforate, ayan, ito, nag-perforate na, nagkalat na talaga. So, perforated na yan, peptic ulcer. So, iyan ang company kung mali natin, hindi ka mag-internal medicine, hindi ka mag-proceed ng pulmonology, ikaw ay gusto mo mag-surgery. So, it happens kasi pwede magbago ang mga gusto niyong specialty. Minsan naman ang pinakaayaw mo, yun ang naging specialty mo. Ang pinakaayaw mo na specialty, yun ang nangyari sa iyo. Yun ang not in medicine, you know what? In medicine, in the field of medicine, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. Kasi there are just many areas of interest in the field of medicine. Marami maganda. So minsan hindi mo siya first choice, pero yun ang nakuha mo. Minsan naman through other factors, minsan family na mahirap kasi kay may asawa na ako, may anak na ako, hindi ko na matindiran sila. So from nagpunta ka sa isang nag-specialty ka ng internal med, tapos maraming obligasyon sa bahay, ang asawa mo, ang mga anak mo, tapos nagkasakit pa yung tatay mo ba? So you have to take care of your family and your father. So lilipat ka na lang sa medyo hindi masyadong toxic pathology, ganun, para magampanan mo. But still, pathology is still a very beautiful world. So pareho lang yan, whatever is. Ano magbibigay ng Diyos sa'yo, pakinggan mo. Okay, so that is so perforation. Surgical emergency na yan, operahan mo yan, i-operahan mo yan, surgeon ka. So emergency talaga yan, ha? So again, normal. If it is just on the superficial portion of your mucosa, that is gastric erosions or gastritis. Yung sinasabi niyong gastritis. Anong oras na? Baka na naman, di ko alam. Anong oras na? Baka alas 12 na, ha?
11:50.
Anong oras? 11:50 na? 11:50?
Yes, Doc.
50. Patay. Para lang ako nakikipagkwentuhan, hindi ko lang nalaman. Time na pala. Alas 12 na. Sige lang. Anyway, basta may natutunan, ha? So, pag nag-erode na yan, further, down, ng mucosa, ulcer na yan, ha? Pag nagbiyan na yan ng mucosa, perforated na yan, ha? Perforated, emergency na yan. Okay. So, yun, ha? Alam niya, mga ulcer na yan. Yan, okay? Perforated na yan. May buho na, Okay. So, doktor ka man, iyan. Internal medicine ka man, surgeon ka man, tingnan mo ang nangyari. Hala, Doc, bakit ako may air below the diaphragm? Diaphragm right hemidiaphragm. Tapos left hemidiaphragm. Doc, mayroon akong, ito liver kasi ito, di ba? Dapat wala kanyang itim na yan. So, pasyente ko kasi, masakit ang tiyan, tapos meron daw siya dating ulcer, tapos hindi naman uminom gamot. Naglalasing pa rin, sigarilyo pa rin ng sigarilyo, naglalasing pa rin. Tapos ngayon, bigla sumakit ang tiyan, Doc. Tapos meron akong nakita dito, air below. That's what you call as the air crescent sign. Air crescent ba? Below the diaphragm. So, perforation na yan. Ibig sabihin, nag-perforate ang kanyang ulcer. Perforated na yan kasi lumabas yung hangin. Mala intestine. Ha? Perforated peptic ulcer. So, emergency yan. Ha? That's what you call as pneumo. This one is pneumoperitoneum, meaning air in the peritoneal region. Ha? Yan. Pati rin ito, sign rin. Okay. Ito pa. Ala, grabe naman to, Doc. Diaphragm, hemidiaphragm, liver ito. So there's an air between the right hemidiaphragm and the liver. Ito naman, left hemidiaphragm. Supposed to be spleen dito. So yun, may severe pneumoperitoneum. Normally, ito kasi normal. Ito, this should be the diaphragm, this should be the liver. Ito, no, this is not. That's what you call as the stomach bubble, the gastric bubble. Meaning, ito ay stomach ito. Dok, ano naman itong itim na ito? Fluid yan ng stomach. So, air, fluid level ng stomach. So, ito pong itim, what do you call this one? Meron kasi akong Maginblase, Dok. Maginblase. Ano yun? Ano yun po yung Maginblase? Ang Maginblase is actually the air component ng stomach. Kasi normally, air naman talaga tayo. Tapos meron rin tayong, di ba, yung ating stomach chyme, di ba, yung fluid component na merong mga pre-digested food. So, siyempre, mas kung nakatayo ka, ang hangin ay ito sa taas. Ito naman ay ang fluid ay pupunta sa ilalim. So we have an air fluid level. Normal 'yan. Ito iba na 'yan. Sobrang hangin 'yan, oh. Pneumoperitoneum talaga 'yan. Hindi na yan stomach air. Ito bowel air 'yon. Ito. Pero ito iba na 'yan. Pneumoperitoneum. So, dapat kapasilin mong pattern. That's a normal one. Okay, ulcer yan. Ito yung kanina. Yung kanina nga if you remember, ito yun, doctors. Ito yun. Ha? So that's a benign. That's a pattern of a benign peptic ulcer disease. May nana na, infected na siya. Okay. So, bago matapos, okay, so ito na yun, ha? Matapos na kasi, tamang-tama, kasi magutom na. So, nandyan na si Helicobacter pylori. Nandyan na si, yan, Ian and company. Ian.
Yes,
okay. So, bago matapos, makinig ka lang. Narito kasi sa akin si Jessa. Hello, Doc. Hello, Jessa. Hello. Jessa. Dr. Jessa Saak. Hello. Open your video, please. Okay, sige. Matatapos na tayo. Don't worry. Oh, virtual crush ka raw. Hello. Hello, Jessa. Virtual crush ka raw ni Ian. Hindi, biro lang. Okay, so sige. Nasaan ka? Saan ka? Sa bahay? Saan? Bakit ano ka sa hospital? Ha?
I have a check-up, Doc.
Saan? Sa Iberins? Iberins?
Yes po, Doc.
Bakit? Huwag COVID, ha? COVID ka?
No po, Doc. No po. No po.
Sawa nang, wag naman. Okay, sige. Matatapos na tayo. Don't worry. Okay. Pero klarado ka. In fairness, klarado ka ba yan, Doro, Jessa, dyan? Very pati yung sound
yes,
mo.
Po, Doc.
Okay, so sige. Okay, makinig na lang, makinig. Sige. Hindi kita tatawagin masyado kay baka pumasok yung COVID virus sa iyo. Okay, makinig ka na lang. Si Ian na lang mag-end. Si Ian na lang. Okay, sige. So hindi kita masyado. Hindi ko sa Okay, thank you. Ian, ganito 'yon. Ang company, ha, tayo yung lahat. Ang H. pylori, very much implicated. Ganito 'yon. Okay, mag-aram na lang ako, ha, para H. pylori, pylori yan, of course, pero gawin natin U. H. pylori is a urease producing microorganism which converts urea into ammonia. Ammonia. This ammonia will react, di ba, H3 will react with, di ba ang ating stomach merong hydrochloric. Di ba may hydrochloric ang ating lumen produced by the parietal cells. Will react with this H will react with this one, the H of the hydrochloric to become ammonium. Ammonium ba? Ammonium is a demonium. Demonyo tiya. Demonium. Kasi the ammonium is a demonium kasi the ammonium will react, will try to erode the gastric mucosal cell. It will erode. Therefore, it will produce peptic ulcer. Huh? So, again, H. pylori is a urease produced by microorganisms which converts urea to ammonia. The ammonia will react with the hydrochloric acid to become an ammonium. And ammonium is bad because it is, remember, gram only, demonium, which tries to, therefore, to ruin your gastric mucosa. So, as you read it one, therefore, H. pylori is characterized by high urease activity, which metabolize urea to ammonia. Ammonia reacts with ammonium to become ammonium. The ammonium production is believed to be the major cause of cytotoxicity because the ammonium directly damages the epithelial cells, increasing the permeability of the gastric mucosal barrier. This reaction allows the bacterium to withstand the acid environment of the stomach, hence a further increase in ammonium production. Okay, it's very clear. Okay. Okay, so yan. Other causes aside from H. pylori are the steroid, mental stress, smoking, alcohol, and of course, predisposed genetics. Di ba? Di ba type A blood, gastric ulcer, type O, duodenal ulcers. Okay, ha? So, yon. You can see that one through the fibroscope. Ito, no? Nakikita nyo yan, ha? So, that's it. And it's stage. So, if you see that one, that's perforation, of course, doctors. Delikado na yan. Operating room yan, operation yan, operation yan, nagperforate, delikado yan. Magbibleed yung pasyente mo, tapos magkaroon ng peritonitis, magtisipsis ka talaga, sepsis, delikado yan kasi mga lumabas ba na, malabasan ka ba naman ng mga ganyan, So yan, don't forget about that. So, before, yan, kakain na tayo, matatapos na kasi tayo. So don't forget, na ang ating body, we will continue kasi next week, holiday sa Sabado, next Sabado kasi Black Saturday. So, remember doctors, sa mouth pa lang, ang ating carbohydrates are actually may partial digestion na kasi meron tayong amylase, Saliva amylase, which converts yung carbohydrates natin to become poly and disaccharides. At ang ating lipids na kinakain, meron na actually early pa lamang, incomplete pa lamang na digestion because ang ating saliva, di ba may amylase, may L, may lingua, mayroon lipase. Saliva, may lipase. Yes, kaso lang hindi pa kumpleto. Di ba para maging fatty acid and monoglycerides para ito masikreto ng ating katawan. So ang proteins din sa ating mouth, okay. So ang proteins, ito na yon. The carbohydrates, pupunta ng stomach, di ba, doctors? Okay. Tapos, sa ating stomach, don't forget, ang gastric natin, ang ating stomach, may lipase baya. So don't forget, parang sinasabi ko, hydrochloric, HCl, Al, gagamitin ko rin ito para sa stomach pa lang, may lipase para. Yes. Tapos, sa stomach, of course, ang protein, polypeptides. Para hindi ko kakalimutan, di ba may pepsin? Di ba may pepsin tayo, pepsin. Nag-aandar ng ating pepsin ngayon kasi gastric phase di ba ng hydrochloric acid production, di ba may cephalic phase, gastric phase, may stomach phase, di ba ng hydrochloric acid secretion. So ganito 'yon. Ngayon, marami ng pepsin sa ating katawan, kasi nagugutom na tayo. Supposed to be gagamitin para ang ating kinain ngayon ay magiging poly. Di ba marami tayong kakainin, may kanin, di ba may kanin, may ulam. So di ba poly kasi marami. So polypeptides. Pepsin will convert our proteins to partial protein to become polypeptides. Now, so as we go further, nalulun ng ating carbohydrates, ang ating kanin, punta na ng duodenum, meron na tayong sa duodenum. Sa pancreas ba, of course, popular ang word na pancreas amylase. Para maging ma-convert siya further into polysaccharides, disaccharides, tapos i-continue rin niya ang mga hindi pa na-convert na polysaccharides para maging disaccharides. Disaccharides, di. Ito man, D, sa duodenum, diyan sa level ng pancreas, duodenum, disaccharides. Okay. Tapos, pag napunta siya ng intestine, ayun na. Ang ating intestinal linings, meron niyang lactase, convert to lactose, then maging monosaccharides. Sucrase, sucrose, monosaccharides. Maltase, maltose, monosaccharides, isomaltase. So, ganun yun, ha? So, ito pwede nang ma-secrete ng ating, ma-absorb natin intestine. Now, lipids, okay. Di ba, lingua, okay. L, lipase. Gastric lipase, hydrochloric lipase. Meron ding lipase. And then, therefore, pagpunta ng intestine, ayun na nga, itong lipase ay magiging, ang lipids ay magiging, to the lipase, magiging fatty acids and monoglycerides na. Then, protein, pepsin, polypeptides. Now, ganito na yon. Ang polypeptides dito sa ating stomach, di ba, poly, marami tayong kinakain, parang dito sa stomach, so poly, papasok siya sa ating duodenum, di ba? Yan mag-react ng pancreas. Di ba, ating pancreas, di sabi ko, di ba, mayroong nag-produce siya ng trypsin, chymotrypsin, small peptides like that. So, ganito yon. Therefore, pagdating ng intestine, peptidase, magiging tripeptides, dipeptides, at saka amino acids. So, yun na yun. Ako convert. Now, ito yun ha, yung mga, ito yun. So, therefore, yun. Mucus next cell, parietal hydrochloric, mucus, chip cell, pepsi, so, ngayon, di ko na talaga kaya. Doctors, ito na. Sir Tyrone, kumusta ka dyan? Yung aming nurse. Sir Tyrone, kumusta ka? Hello? Dr.
Okay.
Tyrone, Dr. Ramon, kumusta ka?
Okay
Kayo
lang,
nga.
Doc.
Okay, very good. Oh, ay, very good, very good. Pero alam kong hindi ka talaga okay. Alam kong hindi kayo lahat magutom na talaga. So, according to the chip cells, maraming si papa mo, maraming nilutong masarap ngayon. So, chef cook si papa mo, inom ka ng Pepsi, kakain na tayo, class dismissed na. Okay, so thank you, doctors. Salamat sa inyong lahat, ha. So, salamat sa pakikinig. Walang sawang pakikinig kay Doc Boy. And then to my residents, thank you very much. We'll continue next week. Hindi ngayon kasi Black Saturday. So let's pray na, doctors, ha? Okay? Kain na tayo kasi ang topic, nakakataon, nagpapagutom pagod. Okay. So let's pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, for the learning. Thank you po very much. We can use this for our everyday life and to become to our patients, for the treatment of our patients, and become mentors also for the next generation of doctors. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, doctors. A blessed